Time now for the Q&A session. We don't have too much time, about roughly 20 minutes. I would request you to identify yourself as you are recognized by the moderator. The floor is open for questions, and keep them short. Yes, sir. Yeah, you.
Hi, my name is Shohid. I am from ISIS. My question is for Dr. Khanna. You talked about diaspora and geopolitics. If I can bring up in the issue we love to discuss here in Singapore, that global power shift, that some people argued that it is shifting from west to east, but as a student of economics, I believe that perhaps is shifting from transatlantic to trans-Pacific. If you just look at the economics number between Asia and America, is enormous. So given this scenario, you have two large diaspora population, Indian and Chinese. So when you talk about the geostrategic relation between Asia and America, many people believe that India is the natural partner of America. But when you look at the interlinkages between diaspora, if you look at Chinese diaspora and Indian diaspora, the economics, investment, and all these figures, you will see that there is a huge linkages between Chinese and America. So how do you see this scenario?
Thank you, Shahid. We can take one more. Yes, please. Yes, sir.
So slowly the borders between nations are disappearing. For example, with all its pitfalls, the euro is still a common currency across all European nations. How do you think the diaspora will play an important role in making such a thing for the common South Asian region?
Please introduce yourself, and who are you?
I'm Dr. Kaushik Dev. I'm a student at SP Jain.
And you are addressing this question to?
Dr. Parag.
Okay, Dr. Khanna. All right, as you respond.
The second question is much more for Tarun, I think.
Okay, go ahead.
But let me discuss the question of power shifts. I think there is a very nearly universal tendency to overstate the shift of power from west to east. It's become an absolute conventional wisdom of the 21st century. I think the reality is much more complex. I don't think that the rise of the East necessarily means the end of the West. I don't think that the centrality of the Pacific Rim or Pacific Ocean displaces the Atlantic. I don't think that China will replace America as the world's only superpower. I believe in multipolarity, meaning a very wide distribution of power around the world, a complex landscape in which East, West, Europe, America, Asia are all powerful at the same time and have very complex interactions. And that's the kind of complexity we have to get used to rather than being overly simplistic about rise and fall and zero-sumness. For example, if you put yourself in the Western mindset and you look at Asia, not only do you see the fragmentation that exists within Asia, one can't really speak of Asia as a coherent entity. Yes, Asian economies collectively are rising tremendously, but there's a substantial amount of rivalry among Asian powers. Meanwhile, in the Western world, for whatever weaknesses exist, not only is there the transatlantic relationship between the European Union, which for all of its current weaknesses and turmoil is the largest economic bloc in the entire world, and that relationship with North America, particularly the United States, which is the second largest economy in the world. But there's a third pillar to the West, which is often neglected, and that is Latin America. Led by Brazil, the Latin American population is 900 million people with an economy the same size as China. So the Western world has three pillars: Europe, the United States, North America, and South America, which are a triangle, if you will, a triangular relationship at total peace with each other, representing still by far the lion's share of the entire world's economy. So for anyone to speak about the decline of the West, such as I actually did in my last book, is to really be drastically overstating the case. Now, to your point about trans-Pacific relationships, in fact, what's happening much more than the rise of trans-Pacific trade is intra-Asian trade, because the volume of trade within the Asian triangle, which is Japan, India, Australia, and everything in between, is larger than the volume of trade across the Pacific. So yes, there is this very substantial foreign investment and trade relationship between India and the United States, between China and the United States, absolutely. But the big story in the world today is actually regionalism, not just this sort of transcontinental sort of trade. And so yes, the Indian diaspora has an interest in promoting American trade with India. The Chinese diaspora does the same. But there is, I think, from the standpoint of an American trade strategist, for example, you're looking to expand those relationships in all directions, not to choose one over the other.
Could I invite you to respond to the second question, which would be more relevant to you, I think, Mr. Das?
I think that the diaspora can help enormously in developing commonalities between South Asia. You know, governments are often, I find, restricted in kind of boxes. And I have found in my own experience, there's someone here who I've worked with a great deal and learned from Dr. Rajamohan, that strategic dialogues, track 2 dialogues from outside government bring people together, because you don't have your compartments and you don't have boxes to fit into. You can be free. The diaspora is even more free. You are outside the country. You are not locked in to positions which are taken officially, and you can help to bridge things. And I hope that the diaspora, and actually this convention eventually, will do something very radical, will create an idea of a South Asian confederation, a loose confederation, you know, where lots of common things happen between South Asian countries, and is done in a very nice way. It can be a network, but and goes beyond the South Asia, this SAARC structure which is there and which has not taken us, you know, as far as one would like to do. So I would see the diaspora playing a great part in breaking down barriers and building new bridges.
Absolutely. In fact, leading it, in a matter of fact, diasporas could lead governments on this score.